Coming up on the Unpack Show.
So for me, the hardest question that I've ever asked myself is, am I really good enough? And it's not only that question, but the second question that I've asked myself is that all the people who are progressing and I'm not progressing, am I jealous of them? Is my lack of collaboration with them, in other words, is jealousy the main cause of lack of collaboration with them? Because sometimes you become jealous of somebody to that point that you cannot associate with them, you cannot collaborate with them.
Hello family, and welcome to the Unpack Show podcast with myself, Johannes Baloi. Please join me as I sit down with guests to have meaningful conversation where we share ideas, opinions, and experiences that are about helping you to improve your life. Today I'm joined by a good friend of mine, Daniel Storyteller Langa. Daniel's interest lies in creating projects that embrace art in a way that gives young people an opportunity to engage in meaningful activities. And today he will be sharing more on how to be true to yourself and the power of environment. Daniel is a co-founder of Mabota Expression, a modeling practice in Mahwelereng, just outside of Mokopane town in Limpopo province. Friends, if you haven't already, please subscribe so that you can be notified when we release a new podcast. Daniel, it's a pleasure to have you on the show. Welcome.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much.
So Daniel, I remember the first time we met, it was when I was at Mabota Expression to give for a workshop, and fascinatingly, we then connected. I don't even know how, I can't even remember how we connected, but I found myself in your company every now and then. And I remember you shared with me and you said that establishing Mabota Expression came from a place where you started to realize that young people are leading their lives astray. And then you wanted to create a platform that will invite young people to engage in meaningful activities. So tell me about the journey of building MAE with the approach of saving young people and embracing art in our community.
Well, if you ask your parents or your sisters and your aunt, they will tell you that Mokopane used to be a melting pot of art. Schools used to compete for, there used to be choir competitions. There used to be beauty pageants. There used to be things like Bosbokubo, a lot of things that engaged young people. But nowadays, we don't have those things. And those things kept the spirit of young people alive. And funny enough, times have changed. Technology is here. But these things are not here. So we, as Mabota Expression, we saw it as our mission to give young people a voice, a platform, to say, you know what, this thing didn't end during your parents' era, but right now, we're carrying on with it.
So you wanted to embrace art to say, you know what, we cannot let this thing die with our parents, our sisters back then, and we can continue carrying it we can continue carrying the vision with ourselves moving forward. So personally for you, before you established Mabota Expression, were you engaged in any form of art?
I started doing music, I think when I was young, and for me, art is a form of an expression where you can tell people how you feel. But more than that, it is a way of telling people that, you know what, I may not be getting money through this thing. I may not be putting bread on the table, but I'm doing what I love. I'm doing art here. I'm doing this thing not only to change my life, but to change other people's life. I think we as young people, art, it is the big thing that we have. It is what the government can provide to us. It is the platform that every young person should be given. But it's not. So, me doing art when I was young, I realized that because I'm doing this thing, if I could give other people a chance to also do it too, regardless of whatever that they're doing, I think our community is going to be a better place to be.
You know, talking about doing art, even though you are not paid for it. This morning when I was hitting a gym, going to jog, I was listening to this other man. I forgot his name, but it was a video from YouTube. So this guy says that his parents asked him, "Why are you not getting a job?" And the guy responded his parents by saying that I'm working on my dreams, and I'm working on my dreams, and right now I'm not yet being paid for what I'm doing, but there's gonna be a point in life whereby I'll be paid for working on my dreams. So I started to feel like we have developed a culture that says if you're not being paid for what you're doing, then what you're doing, it's not meaningful. It's almost useless. And that's why I think it's a reason why people have crashed doing art, because of people thinking of, I am not being paid for this. So wasn't there a time in your life where you've ever encountered a moment whereby you felt like I'm doing something that I'm not being paid for, but you kept doing it?
You know, of course we need money. We have different circumstances and we face life different challenges. You know, money, we need it. But when you're studying, it's not easy to get money. It's not easy to monetize whatever that you're doing. That's why they say only time will tell. So when we started Mabotagad Expression, actually it was an NPO. You know, we wanted to give back to the people, you know, and still is right now, even though we've turned it into private company. But money is, we cannot minimize the challenges of not having money, because money is very much important. But if you can do something that you love, and then you know that one day you'll be putting bread on the table because of what you're doing, I think it's something that is going to give you energy rather than sap it from your body.
So I remember you once said that you were not a social person, and there was a point in your life where you said, you know what, I need to expose myself to the world. So how was it like in that moment of exposing yourself to the world, given the fact that you are not a social person?
I'm an artist, and as an artist, it means when I build to go out. And that is the challenge of we introverts have, because when you do something, you kind of like, the only audience is you, but you need to go out there. People need to hear your songs. People need to hear your poems. People must see what is it that you've been practicing on all those years or all those months. So I had fear, but in me I said, even though I had this fear, I must ship this thing. I must keep going, because whatever that I'm doing, I need somebody else too who's in the same state that I am to go out and ship their work. Is one of the most challenging work, because when you're alone, when you sing in your bathroom and nobody is critiquing your singing skill, it's very easy. But when you go out there and somebody say, I think you can change this and this and this and this and this and this and that, then now you know that, you know what, this, like, the career has just started. The profession has just started. So for me, I wrote many songs, but I told myself that it's time to go out. It's time to meet people. It's time to be vulnerable out there.
And you're talking about something that we all have in common as people. You're talking about, you had fear of having to go out there and expose yourself.
Yeah.
So I think there are different types of fears that we experience. Given how we approach the situation, or what is it that you're going out to do. So what kind of fear have you dealt with in that period of time?
The fear of not feeling enough. That though I'm doing this thing, I don't feel like I'm at that level to ship it. I don't feel like this is the right time and the right moment to tell the world what you feel. And I think it's not only me who faced this situation. We want to take many years to do something before we can go out there. And it's not a bad thing to practice for a very, very long time. But to test where you are, you need to go out so that you can see where you are. So somebody can say, you know what, you're good at this, but I think you can develop this and this and this and this and this and that. So I think it's something that I told myself that I'm gonna do. Yeah.
Irrespective of the fear that you're experiencing.
Yeah, because as you need to remember that the more you hold back, it becomes a habit. You end up, it's like those kids who have books in their homes but they don't read them. It's like, or you don't wanna borrow them to anybody. You just have those books but you don't read them. You don't want anybody to read a couple of chapters. You don't do that. So you need to go out there. You need to expose yourself. You get embarrassed, it's okay. It's a learning curve. Nobody has it figured it out. We're still trying to find our feet.
And speaking of a habit, so did you ever develop a habit for yourself in order to produce the work that you're doing and exposing it to the world, which is shipping, which is the language that you love so much?
Yeah. So the habit comes from reading various books and having, when you do something for a very long time, and then when you get accustomed to, when somebody tells you that this thing is impossible, you just say, no, it is possible. This thing is very much possible. So every day I'm developing a habit of saying this thing is possible by reading different kinds of books, so that they can not only change my mind but also challenge my mind. Often we don't talk about a challenge, we talk about change. But you need books that are going to challenge your mind. When you read something and somebody tells you something, and then you say, whoa, I never thought that somebody can say something like this. I've been doing this for many, many, many years. So now it's challenging me. It challenges the current habits that you have in your life.
Why is it important in life to be exposed to the world?
It is very much important. Actually, when you are somebody who feels like there's something wrong with this world, when you feel like there's something that needs to be changed, especially when you feel like even the government is failing you, you feel like everybody around you is not doing enough. So sitting in your corner is not gonna help. So if you look at all the great heroes that we had, Nelson Mandela, Barack Obama, those people went out. Today we can say, I can be or a young man in America, a black young man can say, I can be a president because of Barack Obama showed me that this is possible. And so if you don't go out there, we're always going to believe that presidency is only for white people. Presidency is only for this kind of people. But when somebody becomes the first person to do something, and then now people start to wake up and say, this thing is possible. We black people can become this thing. We can actually do it. You know what? We are people. We are also entitled for this. It's not about skin. It's all about whether you are willing to take the risk, work hard, and take all the opportunities that comes your way.
And I get a sense that exposing yourself to the world, or the importance of exposing yourself to the world, is to actually challenge yourself, because you talked about, number one, challenging yourself, number two, taking risk, and number three, one of the most important thing that I want you to get deep into, the issue of looking up to someone who has already made it. So is it everyone you should look up to, or are there specific type of people that you should look up to when exposing yourself to the world?
Look, everybody's telling their story. Everybody is telling you about what worked for them. And some certain things you can apply in your life, they can work, and some cannot work. So just have multiple mentors, people who can teach you this. And when that person, you feel like, you know what, this person, I think we have reached the tipping point, it's time to go to another person who's going to teach you something else. The problem is that we stick to one person, we expect that person to teach us everything, but it's impossible. Nobody knows everything. We are people and we are learning. So me, as somebody who also likes to mentor other people, show them the way, I know that I need to learn from many people. And some of them, they're your neighbors. Because learning is not only somebody coming to you and tell you that you must do this and that. Sometimes learning is observing and say, you know what, because of this and this and this and this and this and that, this person didn't achieve this. How about I try this and this? It's what you call observation research. You observe. It's not everybody's going to come to you and tell you what is it that you must do. No. You must open your eyes, open your ears, and always make sure that you associate yourself with the right people.
So the issue of having to challenge yourself, you talked about having to challenge yourself. So what I want to know is that so many people, we think of the outside circumstances challenging us, but we don't think of us challenging ourselves. So how do we go about challenging ourselves? Is there some kind of a mental state of how you should channel yourself to actually challenge yourself? Or
I think we know people more than we know ourselves. We often don't do deep introspection. We often don't question our behaviors, question our habits. Am I really that innocent? Is that person really guilty? Is my behavior taking me to where I want to go? So I think we don't do that. We always want to blame other people. We always want to point fingers. But I think doing deep introspection, looking at yourself and say, I think I'm jealous here. I think I'm envious here. I think there I was angry. I think because everything starts from awareness. You must be aware of how your emotions and your feelings roll out. How can you change something if you cannot know what is it that is causing it? So you'll always go out there and blame people for something that you can look deep within you and say, you know what, I need to change this thing. I'm envious here, there. I'm envious. I am jealous here. So let me do something about it. Let me do something about it. So it starts from being aware of yourself first. I think from that moment, then you will know what to do.
So what is one of the hardest questions that you've ever asked yourself?
So for me, the hardest question that I've ever asked myself is, am I really good enough? And it's not only that question, but the second question that I've asked myself is that all the people who are progressing and I'm not progressing, am I jealous of them? Is my lack of collaboration with them, in other words, is jealousy the main cause of lack of collaboration with them? Because sometimes you become jealous of somebody to that point that you cannot associate with them, you cannot collaborate with them. And the more I asked myself those deep questions, is the more I said, you know what, I need to do something about this thing. I need to acknowledge that this person didn't achieve this thing because of lack. They worked very hard. And when you become jealous of somebody, when you become envious of somebody, you are blocking the chances of ever working with that person. You are blocking the chances of ever seeking help from that person. Because there's always a reason that is blocking you. And the hardest question that I spoke about first is, am I that good enough? This is the reason why I cannot go to the next level, because of this question. Am I good enough? When I want to do something, am I good enough? When I want to do something, am I good enough? Am I good enough? So these are the questions that I asked myself, until one day I said, yeah, I'm good enough. I'm good enough. I'm gonna do this thing. I'm not saying that I'm gonna do it perfectly, but I'm gonna do it anyway.
So that good, you telling yourself that you're good enough, was it from a perspective of saying, I'm proclaiming that I'm good enough so that I can push myself, or was it from a perspective of, yes, I'm good enough because of what I'm doing, because of the things that you see yourself doing?
Yeah, good enough doesn't mean I'm perfect. Good enough means it's time to do it. It's not about being perfect. It's not about knowing everything. It's about trying the waters. It's all about hypothesis. Because if you don't try it, how are you going to know that you're better at it? So for me, when I say I'm good enough, I'm not saying I'm gonna go there and smash everything. I'm saying that, you know what, it's time to test how good am I.
And that brings me to the next question of saying that you always talk about the importance of being true to yourself.
Yeah.
Tell me about that.
Yeah. So being true to yourself is a very, very deep concept, because we are the product of where we come from. We're a product of people that we hang out with. So being true to yourself is one of the most difficult thing that you'll ever achieve. If you ever achieved this thing, I think you can do whatever that you want to do in life. You know, because being true to yourself, it means that you must tell somebody who knew you for years and years that, you know what, actually I don't like this thing. This is not me. I like this thing, I like this thing, and I like this thing. You know, but because over those years somebody has gave us compliments, we want to protect that thing. We want to protect friendship. We want to protect any kind of relationship that we have with somebody. It's not, it's not easy to be true to yourself, but you can, the moment you realize that, you know what, if the people around me can appreciate what I'm going to tell them, then it's okay. But the reason we're not being true to ourselves is because we know very well that if I do this thing, my friend is gonna laugh at me. My friend is gonna think that I'm a joke. So I'm not doing it. So I rather pretend than be true to myself. I rather expose a certain self to my friends or to the public than expose my real self. You know, you find that my real self is only when I'm at home. So only when I'm at the bathroom, that's when I show my real self. But when I'm with people, I don't do that. So it's not something that you can achieve overnight. It's something that needs to be practiced, and it needs somebody to be tough. Tough, I don't mean rude. Tough, I mean tough. Tough, it means that you're being assertive rather than aggressive. You know, so that is one of the way on how somebody can be true to themselves, because it's not an easy thing. You know, some people, it's not like they're bad people. It's just that they interpreted your behavior in a certain way, and now they're inviting you into their life because they thought or they think that it is who you are. You know, if you see me on the street carrying something, and then next time you invite me, you say, come to my place and let's have a party, and you find that I'm not a party person. But because you saw me one day carrying a bottle of something, even if it was for my uncle, next time you're gonna invite me to the party. You know, so because of that behavior that you saw me carrying that bottle, now because you think we are on the same page, you think that your values align with mine. You know, and sometimes it's not a bad thing to tell people that though you saw this kind of personality about me, but it's not really who I am. I am this person. I like this kind of music. I like this kind of books. I like this kind of lifestyle. But often we don't do that, you know, because why? We're afraid of isolation. We're afraid that nobody's gonna hang out with us. Nobody's going to befriend somebody who likes to read books every day, you know. So we are afraid of isolation. You know, if you check, if you go to prison, this maximum prison, you find that there's something that is called solitary confinement, and everybody is afraid of that because in a solitary confinement you are alone there, alone. You find that there's not even a little piece of the sun coming in. There's no brightness in there. It is you against the wall. Nothing. And you find that sometimes it's dirty, you know, smelly in there.
So
Yeah.
I get a point that the reason why, and this is one of the biggest reason, and I for one, I was guilty of that, because the reason why people are afraid of being true to themselves, it's because of they are afraid of isolation. So
Yeah.
how do we deal with the issue of isolation, all of the challenges that comes with having to be true to yourself? Because of being true to yourself, the people around you will tell you that you are rude. They will isolate you. They will start to give you a certain identity, give you bad names because of now you are being true to yourself. And we are also afraid of those challenges of being true to ourselves. So how do we deal with those challenges in terms of when going about being true to ourselves?
I think you're not alone there. You'll find that there's somebody else who has values that align with yours. Find those people. Befriend those people. It's not like you are somebody who's very unique to that point that nobody in the entire universe is like you. You know? Yeah. So find people that your values align with them, and in that way you're going to feel that you're living life of purpose.
And you just reminded me of something. So here's something that I've recently learned. I've learned that it's not every topic that you can talk about with anyone, because some people they are not enough matured to can discuss real life issues. I think the issue of being unique is very important. You know, finding the relevant people who are actually aligned to your belief. And I've seen that with my experience, you know, growing up. I've realized that I'm actually unique in my own way. There's a type of things that I do, types of places that I go, types of topics that I talk about, not because of I have ego or pride, but because of I am unique in my own way. And sometimes I did go through things like, such as people talking that, you know what, I know you're just different. You don't fit into our group. If you want to fit into our group, you have to be like us. You know, adapt into the concept of how those people live. And I feel like this is actually the reason why people are afraid of being true to themselves. And you know, the issue of exposing yourself to the world and the issue of being true to yourself, I want to know that how did you manage to choose the right environment for yourself? Because I can tell that there are a lot of things going on in this world. And the moment you tell yourself that, you know what, I feel like this is the right time for me to expose myself to the world, how did you know that this is the right environment where I should be?
So somebody once said you are the average of people that you hang out with. And I can say not only people, everything that you do, you are an average of it. You find that you have pieces of somebody in you, you have pieces of somebody in you, pieces of that somebody in you. Their opinions, somehow they come to your life and they dictate it. So picking the right environment, again, it goes back to the concept of knowing what you want in life. Sometimes you don't have to go to people. Sometimes people come to you. Yeah, they come to you. They say, you know what? we have realized this thing, and we also like this thing, and then you live with those people. And the environment is funny, because the environment is always powerful, more powerful than we think. And if we don't open our eyes, we'll find that we're always complaining about what we are not given. So for me, aligning with the right people or finding the right environment, I knew I had to be true to myself first, so that I can attract those things. So like I can become something like a magnet, attract relevant things to me, But sometimes you need to be sometimes, to find the right environment, you need to be on the wrong environment first. And you find that, okay, I'm in this environment, but it's not where I want it to be. Now I need to change and be on the environment that I value much. So choosing the right environment is not something that you just wake up and say, I'm going to choose the right environment. It is all about your behavior. It's all about what you attract. Everything that you write on social media, you're attracting somebody. You are creating a certain perception about you. Somebody can say, Daniel is a serious person because of what I post on social media. And if that person is a serious person, also will come to me because it feels like his or her values align to mine. You understand? So it's everything. It's your behavior. Your behavior. People always want to achieve good things in life, but your behavior, is it going in a way, or is it aligning with your vision? Because if right now I want to achieve something but I do something else, I'm not gonna get to the destination that I desire. That is not gonna happen. So it all starts with your behavior. And I believe that everybody must set boundaries. Everybody must set boundaries. You cannot be available to everyone. That is totally impossible. You can't be available to everyone, and you can't be involved in everything. Yes, it's good to live life, outside your normal life. If you're a motivational speaker, it's good to just freshen up a little bit, not be too much serious. But it doesn't mean that get involved in too many things to that point that you create too many perceptions to people about you. When somebody says, you're this person, you're this kind of person, you're this kind of person, you say, no, this is not me. It's not who I am. I am this person, and every day I'm going to show you that I'm this person. Yeah.
So you talked about something that you cannot, like, choosing the right environment comes with the issue of sometimes being in the wrong environment and realizing that I'm in the wrong environment. I need to change the environment.
Yeah.
And again, the issue of choosing the right environment goes with your beliefs, your attitude, and how you go about living your life. So there are some times whereby we get exposed to the good environment, sometimes we get exposed to the wrong environment. And how does one navigate themselves in any environment that they find themselves in?
It's all about bravery. You need to be brave. You need to be brave to get out of there and do something that you love, and go to the place that you see that is going to support your dream. This thing is bravery, and nobody can do it. You see, we see people quit their jobs and do something that is meaningful to them, So, if you're not brave, you're not going to do that. If you're not brave to tell people that, I think I've had enough here, I'm going to seek some greener pastures out there, you'll always get the same results. So it starts from being brave. Being brave and understand that you'll always disappoint people. You're not perfect. somebody's gonna get disappointed, and you need to be cool with that. You need to be very, very, very cool with that, because you want to follow something that deep in your heart you feel like it's the right thing to do. Steve Jobs says you're following your intuition. There's a little voice inside of you telling you to do something, and you feel like it's the right thing to do. But it all starts from being brave. It all starts from challenging whatever circumstances or obstacles that are in your way, or the people who are always with you, and you tell them that, what, I don't think I belong here. I think I belong there. I don't think sometimes you find that there are some people who left their country and went to another country, and at that country they succeeded. That's where they saw that here I'm gonna grow. That is why in the book that I'm writing, for me, I feel like the best support that a parent can support their children is taking them to the place that will nurture their dreams. This is the best, because right now, if you are in an environment that is stifling our dreams, even though you can tell me something positive, chances are I'm not going to succeed in life. Because the environment is always much powerful than we think. If right now I have a child, and then I just buy him a trouser, and I tell him that, what, don't wear, or rather I say, wear this trouser. But do you know that if their friends tell them that you shouldn't wear this trouser, they're not gonna wear it. But if I tell them not to wear the trouser, and their friends tell them to wear the trouser, they're gonna wear it. They're gonna take it inside the school bag, and they're gonna wear it out there.
Yeah.
So it shows you that the environment is always more powerful, even more powerful than the family. It's always powerful than the family, because what a parent say to their child is always less powerful than what the friend, his or her friend says. The friend always has power, because he or she is spending too much time with the friend, right?
Yeah.
The friend says, if you look this way, man, I'm telling you, we go places. We go places. So the environment is powerful, and the moment we realize, people, I always hear people say, how can he do this thing? I mean, he's a son of a pastor. And to my heart, I say, are you kidding me? Look at the environment first before you say this is the son of a pastor. Because the environment is what is dictating this child's life. Right? Regardless whether you're the son of a president, you're the son of a pastor, you're the son of everything. We need to look at the environment. Where is it going? Where is it taking our children? So the environment is always very powerful.
Wow. So wrapping up your life with the work that you're doing, the person you are, what is it that you want people to remember about you?
I want people to challenge themselves. What is applicable today, tomorrow won't be applicable. And you need to acknowledge that. You need to say, life has changed. Things have changed. And so I need to change too. Not in a bad way, but you need to update yourself. I was watching a certain movie, which I don't remember its name. So there were two grown-up men, and one said to another, he said, you know what, man, things have changed. But the other guy said, not in here, pointing to his head. Things have changed, but not in here, not in the head. They might have changed, but not in the head. That is why New Year's resolution don't work, because in our minds things have not changed, but the years have changed. Now it's 2021, we're going to 2022. People in January, they're writing New Year's resolutions. And you find that mid-March, they've already left them. Because they need to realize that this thing is a journey. It's not gonna take you one day to achieve something. It's not gonna take you one day to conquer your life. You need to challenge yourself every day. Challenge all the myths, all the misconceptions that we've been told ever since you were young. There are some things that are no longer working for us right now. They say charity begins at home. I agree. But what I believe mostly or strongly is that charity begins with you. If you can do yourself a charity, that charity is going to show to others. That's what I believe. When people challenge themselves, they're also challenging the system. The status quo that we always wrapped up against, we always been told, you know what, you need to do this thing like this person, you need to do this thing like this, do this thing like this person, right? I'm not saying people become reckless, because reckless people are those who don't care about results. I say people must challenge themselves. You must look at yourself, introspect yourself. Am I really on the path that I wanted to be? Am I really adopting the behavior that is going to make me achieve whatever that I want to achieve in life? But if you don't challenge yourself, here's a funny thing. When you challenge yourself, you're challenging people who are around you. And it's not a good thing. People don't like to be challenged. If we always eat this thing, we want to eat this thing for the rest of our lives. But if you challenge yourself for a very long time, now you're starting to give people a new habit. You're starting to give the society a new habit. You're creating a new environment. It's very possible to create a new environment, and we forget the old environment.
Oh. It's been a pleasure to have you and having this conversation with you. So where can people find you?
On Facebook, Daniel Storyteller Langa. I'm speaking to people who are on Facebook. Daniel Storyteller Langa is who I am. Yeah.
It's been a pleasure to have you.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you.